Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Betholkis, and it's time for a new show, The Peripheral, Season 1, Episode 1, Pilot. Yeah, that's the title of it is Pilot. Welcome, everybody. Let me take care of some business first, and we'll get down to it. If you like what you see here, like, share, and subscribe. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible to one of the videos in my vast video library and pops it up here just for you. And if you like what you see there, if you can please hit that subscribe button right down there. And also, if you can hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you feel lucky or feel like gambling, you can hit that bell down below, and YouTube may or may not notify you. Best thing to do is go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I have up there. I change it out every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media and all the links to my pages as well. All right. Let's get to it, shall we? Spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. If you have not seen the episode, go and watch it. Come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. Give you enough time to hit pause, run away, whatever you need to do. All right. So, this series on Amazon Prime is based on a William Gibson novel. So, Neuromancer. And it takes place in the future. So, actually, it takes place in two different futures. We see at the very beginning of this episode, we start off in 2099, and then we jump over to 2032, is where we go, about 10 years into the future for us. And we're mainly following a pretty good gamer is what she is, Flynn Fisher, and she's living at home with her brother and her mom. Both of them have ailments going on. He from the war, her from an illness. We don't know exactly what that illness is, other than she's blind and needs help. Um, so Flynn is actually working at a 3D printing press in town, and so there's basically a whole bunch of 3D printers and all that kind of stuff. While her brother is basically getting jobs online, doing either online gaming or testing things of that nature, where he's getting stuff 3D printed and he's testing it out. And really, it's his sister that is doing the testing for him. She's the one that ends up well, she actually does much better on video games than he does, even though he has the haptics built into his uh system, I guess you could say, into his nervous system in order to work all this stuff. She is actually better at virtual reality than he is. So she actually got up to over 100 levels on this game that got him a job. Basically, she was playing as him, and so he has a new rig that no one's ever seen before. Actually, the guys at the 3D shop that she's at give it to her and say, hey, bring this over to your brother. You need to sign for it. It's some new rig. We've never seen it before. And he asks her brother, and I'm blanking on his name all of a sudden, Burton. There we go. Asks her to, of course, do this for him, since she was the one that made it that far in the game to begin with. And as he puts it, if she does this, the longer she stays in, the more money they get, and they can be set up for a couple of months because pills are very expensive. The pills that both her mother and her brother Burton both need pretty much are the same pills, and they're like $1,000 a pill. So yeah, so of course she goes in and posing as her brother, and the first thing that she's required to do is basically seduce somebody, because of course she looks like her brother, and everything she says she can feel everything. Um Basically the air, like the textures, all that kind of stuff, it feels real to her. And a voice in her head basically tells her that to befriend this woman that's at this party and get her to take him home with her. And she does that. And as they're in the car, uh, she ends up having to slip a Mickey, basically, a roofie, if you will, into the drink, or actually under her nose, to knock her out, but also avoid getting killed by the automated driver as well, which is a lot easier said than done. And so she ends up doing that, ends up taking this woman to the voice in her head, who's actually a person, and by the name of, I'm blanking on her name all of a sudden, Alita. And that is the end of her first night. And that's pretty much it. Hey, Cheryl, how's it going? Um, and she thinks really nothing of it at that point. Uh, the next night, Burton says, "Hey, they really liked you. And they want you to come back. And let's do it. They're going to give us a lot of money, like, you know, $250,000 kind of money." So she does this and she wakes up, when she puts on the helmet, she wakes up on an operating table. And yeah, basically she's going to go through some torture. And the way this is, this test is supposed to be how she can control the feeling of being in the apparatus, but separate herself from that feeling is really kind of interesting in all of this. Um, and then of course break into a secure building once they basically put a new eye in the woman that she kidnapped. They've taken her eye and they've put that eye into Burton's body, if you will. uh yes, Raymond, that is the twist in all of this. So they end up, going into this facility, um and uh Burton, or I should say, you know Flynn, ends up, we find out that she's in a chassis is what she is. She's basically in an automaton, a robot, if you will, a cyborg that she's piloting, and, it gets fried, and she gets out of the system because she can't actually, eject herself out of that system. It has to be someone on that end that has to eject them out, or she has to the robot that she's dying in has to die or power down or something like that for her to get ejected out of the system. And um, she does that, of course. Finally gets out, and basically the people on the other side so they can track who the user was through that. They can track it back is really what through the IP or whatever it is, and and she ends up getting hunted at this point. Her and her family, and at this point, Alita has disappeared. Wolf Netherton, who is someone who is working with Alita, is also looking for her as well because he was working with her at that point, and they want to know where she is. And of course, Flynn is the last person to have seen her, and they're telling Flynn, "Hey, you need to come back because your whole family's in danger, and we can protect you." And that's kind of where we leave off on the first episode with there's been a bounty put out on her family. It has been taken up. It's a $1 million bounty. There are some guys that are out there in the woods. Although Burton and his war buddies are there and they have a drone of their own. So they're actually, they see these guys. And that's kind of where we leave off. It's a standoff between the guys that are hunting them, the bounty hunters, I guess you could say, that are coming in, and Burton and his group that are getting ready to come to go fight them, if you will, at this point. And that's kind of where we leave off in this episode. Um, it's interesting. It actually does set up a different kind of world. It's again, this is from the creators of Westworld, Lisa Joy and Jonathan Nolan. They're producing this. They are not directing any of this, but they are producing it. Does it have kind of a Westworld feel? A little bit of a Westworld feel to it, but a little different as well. So a little dirtier, if you will. Actually, a lot dirtier because it's not as polished. It is kind of a believable future in a way because it doesn't go like like Westworld, where it kind of goes too far, where you're like, okay, that's interesting, but probably not going to happen for like a couple hundred years or something like that. This being a 10-year time jump, you can see some things. Like one of the things they talk about is bananas being extinct. So if you don't know this, bananas as they are right now almost did become extinct in the 1930s because of a fungus. And this is a rare esoteric fact that I'm just going to throw your way. Banana flavoring that you get, the artificial flavoring, is the way bananas used to taste back in the 1930s, the extinct bananas. The bananas that we have now are a different variety, and they are also one fungus away from being wiped out completely as well. So it is something that can happen, and we would have no bananas. Yes, there are no bananas, uh, but yeah, in this reality, there are no bananas. So you knew that one, Pen? Good. That's a weird one, but yeah. So this is an interesting show, I have to admit. So this is an interesting series so far. It's got my attention at least enough for me to cover it, you know, not just because I don't have anything to cover, but no more banana milk. Yeah, exactly. No more banana milk. Yeah. So um, I want the bananas that taste like the flavor. And yeah, we're never gonna get that again. Pen, those are gone. Those are long, long gone. I like the bananas that taste like the artificial flavoring too. I have to admit. Um, and another fun fact, they actually used to use that banana smell, that flavor. It was also a really strong smell, so they used to use that for respirator testing. So whenever we would test for respirators use, so they used to do a qualitative test where they would have the banana smell. Can you smell that? And people liked the smell, so they would just go, "No, I can't smell it." So they could continue to smell it. So they discontinued that, and now we have a qualitative test where you actually plug in and you can actually. Anyway, that's another different thing right there. That's some more useless knowledge for you. So, interesting episode, interesting introduction to this world. And normally, I'm not a big fan of William Gibson, quite honestly. But this is okay. I'm kind of liking this series so far. And new episodes drop on Fridays. They dropped the first two episodes last Friday. I'll be doing episode 2 tomorrow night, and then, of course, episode 3 drops, I'll be doing that on Friday. Excuse me. So, that's where we're at on that. Like I said, decent episode. Chloe, Moretz, of course, is the lead in all of this. And there's, other names that you're gonna see in here, and faces. Jack Rayner, of course, plays her brother Burton. He's been in a few items, a few things here and there. Charlotte Riley plays Alita West. You'll recognize her when you see her. So, any hint as to why it's called the Peripheral? Um, I don't know as of yet, Raymond. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing. I have a feeling that the future is not what we're seeing. I don't think that the people in the future actually exist in the real world. I think they exist in a computer simulation kind of thing. That might be the peripheral, because there are just too many weird things in that future in the 2099 that we saw at the very beginning of it. Like you have these gigantic statues that like almost reach up into the atmosphere that are over London. It doesn't look like London. And so I don't think they are the humans that are alive are in the real world. I think the real world is pretty fucked up. And that's the reason why they need to exist within a virtual reality. Yeah. Not really a 13th floor vibe, Raymond. This really does have more of a Westworld vibe to it, where you're not sure, what's real, what isn't. Uh, it's very, very coy on that end. So, I'll say this in the second episode, some stuff is explained. The first episode and the second episode go hand in hand, quite honestly. And I'm glad they put both of them out at the same time on the same day because I just burned right through them both. And that's why I kind of had to make that distinction of where the drawing line is before I, you know, did a little review of them. And I did like, you know, where this kind of this ended nicely to the point where I was like, okay, I want to watch the second episode. So, you know, lead straight into the second episode. And the second episode does, you know, in a way that you can wait a week and watch the third episode and still want to go into the third episode, of course, without giving anything away, which you'll see tomorrow. We'll talk about it tomorrow. So, with that said, I'm gonna let you guys go for the rest of the night. What else do I have going on for the rest of this week? Again, like I said, tomorrow will be episode 2 of the Peripheral. Friday will be episode 3 of the Peripheral. Saturday I'll be off. Sunday will be the Sunday edition of Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I take the genre news of the week and any genre stuff you guys want to talk about. We talk about it. Monday I'll be off because we don't have anything at the moment. And then Tuesday will be another episode of Is It Worth My Time? It's going to be Tales of the Jedi, which is on Disney Plus currently. It just dropped today. That is the animated Tales of the Jedi. 6 episodes. They're about 20 minutes apiece, somewhere around there. And yes, this takes place on Prime, Raymond, Amazon Prime. So, with that said, thank you to everybody who joined me tonight in the chat, and thank you if you made it this far in the video. If you're still on the fence about subscribing, take a look at the video that pops up at the very end here. YouTube takes the algorithms of all the stuff you've been watching and tries to match it as best as possible. So one of the videos is my vast video library. So take a look at that video there. And if you like what you see there, if you can, please hit that subscribe button down below there. And also, if you can, hit that like button, the share button as well. And if you want to know when I'm going to be on live again next, go over to suspendedfanimation.com. Take a look at the schedule I put up there. I change it out every week. Also, I have all the links to my social media there and all the links to my pages as well. All right. Thank you, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow for the Peripheral episode 2. Until then, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you may get a mysterious headset that's 3D printed for you, but actually for your brother. But you decide to do it because you're better at gaming. And yeah, you just end up getting hunted by bounty hunters, and it's not a good thing. Anyway, thanks, everybody. I will see you again tomorrow. Have a good rest of your night. Stay safe, take care. Stay safe, be well, take care. Wear those masks, get those vaccine shots, get the boosters as well, because they don't work without the boosters. And stay safe out there, everyone. I will see you again tomorrow. Have a good rest of your night. Good night.